Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com, man. Let me ask you a question, man. You ever notice how economic times like this, what are the elite buying? I'm reading stories about how a lot of the wealthy elites are actually dumping stocks or liquidating a lot of their stock positions and going to hard cash. And if you read other sources of information, you see that they're actually putting a lot of their holdings into actual land ownership. So what's going on here? And I've said it before and I'll say it again. The one thing people don't understand about land ownership is that land has a actual store of value. Unlike other things that you can protect. I mean, you don't have to be there to own the land. Most people, you raise animals, you let other people build on the land. The process is really, really simple to understand. And the only thing about it is that people think that you need a lot of money in order to start your land ownership process. And that's furthest from the truth. But when I look to the wealthy, and what are they doing? They're buying up all the land that they can get their hand on. Thousands and thousands of acres. Jeff Bezos owns large cattle ranches down in Texas. Even Jay Prince owns thousands of acres down in Texas raising cattle, because there's money in raising cattle and then selling off the beef. There's people who sell hay on their lands. Other people who just raise fruit. People have other people working their land for them to make a profit. And they're not there. So again, why is this done? If you go back to the beginning points of our inception of our country, you couldn't vote unless you had title and property. And a lot of people think that that's changed, and it hasn't. You still need land in order to create some level of influence. When you own multiple, think about it. Look at the corporations like BlackRock and all of these other corporations. What are they doing? They're buying homes, but what most people miss, a home can be torn down. So if I tear down a house on a whole block, did they lose anything, or do they not own real estate now? That's a question. If you see all the homes in your neighborhood get burned down to the ground like they have in many of the areas I've lived at, we had our fires in Northern California, do you think that the area loses value? No. The reason why the answer is absolutely not is because they can just build another house up again. Now you see homes being taken down and they're putting apartment buildings on top. You know why? Because the value's not in the wood, the brick, the stone, the whatever materials used to be built. It's actually the value's always been in the land. Because with the land, it doesn't matter what you build on top. It'll be changed in some time. It's always going to transform in anything else. If you go to any city, go to any neighborhood, you'll see something that once was farmland become housing. You'll see those houses torn down, and then you'll see apartments go up, multifamily. Then that'll get torn down, and then the next big thing will be they'll put a mansion up, or they'll clear it out and make it farmland again. Or they'll create it and make it into a ranch. They'll change it in some way that suits whatever is the need for humanity at that time. But again, is the change or the value because of what's changing, or is it always held in the land ownership? And that's why land is so important, and people forget that. Because when all the power shuts down, when there's no more water coming to your utility company, or the prices of things get so expensive, what do you have left? The land. You can collect water on your land, you can grow food on your land, you can grow trees, fruit, you can have chickens, goats, you can do so much with your land if you want to become self-sufficient. And everybody thinks you need 20 or 30 acres to do it. Actually, you can do it on even a half an acre. You can become self-sufficient on a half of an acre. And actually, you can do it on less. You actually can. With modern technology, you can do it with less than half an acre. You can do it on a quarter of an acre. You could do it on 0.22, which is actually on AncestryLands.com. We got properties for that same size. You could have the protein you need. You could have the vegetables you need. You could have even sources of water, the rain collection, and states that allow rain collection. That's not every state now. You got a lot of states that don't allow that. But again, you can feed and house yourself. You can even go solar if you have a little bit of land. And again, that's what they're taking away from you, the knowledge of how to be self-sufficient. They don't want you buying land because they want to own the land. You know why they do that? So they can put a house on top and sell you the price that's double, triple the land value, because again, they put something on top. That's why you have developers. They go through and build your whole neighborhoods up for you because they want you paying retail price. And you notice why? That's why the Ancestry Lands always sells land for cheaper. Not for cheap, for cheaper. There's a difference. Because again, we're trying to put you at the same level of what a developer does. Developer will buy a property like mine, $20,000, no problem. They'll say, man, they'll give me $5 just for selling it for $20. So I'm gonna get $25, right? What ends up happening? They go through and put a house up there. Now they're putting up the house for $800,000, right? And they're gonna sell it to you. They're gonna sell it to you, and a bank's gonna buy them out, and they're gonna sell it to you with whatever interest rate. So when you take that $800,000 home, you're gonna be in for about 1.5, 1.3. You're gonna pay an extra over 30 years. They're gonna make money over money. So the banks will give the developer that money. They'll give them a loan to build that house, because they'll say, hey, you know, we'll give you $400,000 to buy the land and build a home, because we know you're going to sell it for $8, and or build a house and you're going to put it up for $8, and guess what? We're going to give them the mortgage and sell it for 1.5 at 30 years, and we're going to collect our interest first. That's the game. That's the game. That's what you're missing. That's why developers can get funding like you can't, because again, you don't own land. If you own land and you were looking to build, and you're going to take that property and go sell it later, even if you were putting a manufactured home up there, even manufactured homes are overselling. But again, that's not your plan, because you're thinking about buying it at the retail price, because you just won't buy the land. And you won't buy the land, you're going to pay the price of the house. And the price of the house is always going to be more than if you took the time to build it yourself and you got the appropriate funding. But again, we won't do it because we don't think we have the time, but we will pay the time and price. We won't even own the land to make someone else build on it and just lease the land out. You know how many offers I get in the mail from companies that want to just put solar? They want to put solar up on the land so they can provide electricity and get subsidies and rebates from the government. And they want to use the land, and they want to lock up the property for 35 years. That means that I will be clearly in my 80s getting income, monthly income, from a property that has paid itself 9 times over. At that point, my kids will be getting that income. Now, if you do that 7, 8, 9, 10 times, you're talking about retirement money, secure retirement money, and your grandchildren will be living off that money. There are 100-year land leases. I mean, you think about it. They talk about shopping malls are dead. Yeah, the shopping mall is, but guess what is not? Not the real estate underneath it. Not the real estate underneath it. The real estate underneath it is never dead. It's always alive, because you can change it up. You might now be realizing, man, you go back to your hometown, man, I remember that was nothing there. This was something else there. It's always changing, but what's not changing? The land. What's not changing? The land. It's not. All it is, the space is changing, but not the land. Key to wealth is in the land. Where do you go to find land? Ancestrylands.com is where you go to find that land and property. Why would you go there? No interest, no credit checks, which means you could have the worst credit, but you could be able to make the payment $1,000 down, $250 a month for 76 months, and you could have the worst credit in the world. But if you make those payments, you're going to get that property. You're going to own that property. You're going to go to a bank. Maybe your credit is a little bit better. Maybe your credit is, maybe it was a 6 something and now it's a 750. Bank's going to look at you and say, you don't got that great a credit. You had an 800, we give you a better rate. Or maybe we won't approve you at all. Then you go and say, you know what? Let me throw those 2 properties from Ancestry Lands that I now own into the mix. They say, oh, you own some real estate. Okay. You got some good collateral. Good credit score, a lot of people got that. A down payment, a lot of people got that. But then you up the ante with some property. Now the game's done changed. Now you might have their attention. Now they're seeing that the property you own is going up in value because Phil Davis is making sure that your values keep on increasing because he keeps selling property in that area. Now your property values is going up 5,000-10,000. Now they're saying, hey, you can borrow more. Now it becomes Mr., right? Now it's no longer your first name they're calling you. Might even offer you a cup of coffee or something, you know? They ask you if you want some water, right? Now the respect level goes up to 9,000, and now you're talking in a different one. So again, you need land in your game plan. Land has always been the plan. The banks understand that. They may not really even want the land, but they like the collateral. They like that you got something that they can look as tangible. And that's what you need. You need a tangible game plan. You need to offer something that's other than just digital verification. You need to show them that you've got something tangible, which is why they always ask you, do you rent or own? Trust me, own 10 properties and see if you don't get approved. Own none and see how hard it is then. Y'all don't understand, man. You're not going to listen, man. I could show you, but you're not listening. I could show you how it works, but you're still not listening. You don't hear me. I'm going to say it like this, and I've been saying this for a while, man. You either own property or you'll be owned this property. Go to AncestryLands.com and get yourself some property. Phil Davis signing off. Like and share this anywhere, folks. Take care. Peace.